Welcome back to Wrestling with Horror. My name is Andrew Dreamer, and this is the channel where we talk about professional wrestling, we talk about horror movies, and we look at all the ways that they intersect, connect, and everything in between. And today, we're going to jump back into our mini-series of reviewing the original movie in popular horror franchises. That being said, today we are going to talk about the beginning of a genre called torture porn. And this film, to me, is still the best in the franchise. We're going to be talking about Saw. Now, I actually really love this movie. Don't know that it would ever make a list of my favorite horror movies or anything like that, but I really enjoy this movie. I enjoy the characters, the writing in it is done really well, and I can appreciate that a lot. So, let's jump right into this review. So Saw was directed by James Wan. It was written by Leigh Whannell, who also stars in the film as Adam, alongside of Cary Elwes as Dr. Gordon and Danny Glover as well. Now, these characters in this story all intertwine in a way that just kind of just shocks you from beginning to end. Well, my bad. Sorry, before I go any farther, I left out Tobin Bell, who is actually the face of this franchise at this point. And I apologize for that. Tobin Bell, I respect you, and I am grateful for the work that you've done on this series. So, thank you. Anyway. Now, obviously this film opens up on just somebody in darkness freaking out because they're chained up somewhere and they don't know where they're at. Obviously the lights come on. We see these two gentlemen locked, or their feet are chained to opposite sides of this just dirty, disgusting, hepatitis-looking bathroom. And obviously we learn that this is Adam and Dr. Gordon, again played by Leigh Whannell and Cary Elwes. Now, in the middle of the room, there is a seemingly dead man laying on the ground, pool of blood, gun in his hand. It looks like he's committed suicide. Now, throughout this film, you see these different traps by this character, Jigsaw, who he traps people and he makes them try to fight for their own life. And it's like he's trying to teach them a lesson. Now, when this movie came out, I don't think any of us thought that it was going to turn into the behemoth of a franchise that it is. But this first movie was just done so well. It was done on a shoestring budget, to say the least. And it's the best possible version of this story. I really enjoy it. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to have the right words to describe it all, because this version of this film, it wasn't as gory and bloody and as torturous as the rest of the series would become known for, but there's still quite a bit of blood and gore in this movie. Now, there's one moment especially that sticks out to me as a younger kid watching this movie when it came out. The scene towards the end when you see Dr. Gordon sawing his foot off, that scene still sticks out to me. I remember the first time seeing that, I was shocked. Probably shouldn't have been watching it at the time, but you know what, I watched a lot of movies way too young. Now, obviously in the background, you've got this kind of detective story with Danny Glover and his partner trying to figure out who Jigsaw is, and they think they figure it out, and they almost even capture him, but his partner gets killed. Danny Glover's partner gets killed, and he kind of becomes a recluse and becomes obsessed with finding Jigsaw. Towards the end, we find out that Dr. Gordon's family has been kidnapped by this guy named Zepp, and he actually works at the hospital with Dr. Gordon. Now, what we don't know at the time is that Zepp is playing his own game with Jigsaw, where he is being forced to do these things. And that, at the very end, when Adam springs back to life after seemingly being shot and killed by Dr. Lawrence Gordon to get out of there, he springs to life, he grabs the toilet bowl lid, and he just beats this man to death with it. It's brutal, the screams and the cries of anguish that he's letting out as he beats this man to save his life, to save this man that he barely knows, like this man that he actually took pictures of to stalk him. He does this to save both of them. And that's when we get this big twist that I don't think anybody in the theater saw coming at all. It's when the man in the middle of the room slowly stands up, he stretches, and we realize that that is, in fact, Jigsaw. That is the man who's behind all of this, the man who has been putting on these games, if you want to call them games. Obviously, he likes to say, I want to play a game. So it is a game to him. But then you get that iconic moment where he goes over to the door and he looks back at him and just says, game over, and slams the door shut. And it just cuts to black. That twist ending is one of the best moments in horror history to me. I don't think it's been replicated since, at least not off the top of my head. I can't think of anything that comes close to that, really. Especially for me, that moment it packed such a punch. There was a lot of emotion and tension and even fear within that moment, knowing that he's been laying motionless for hours and hours and hours there. But again, this movie is something that I can appreciate so much. I don't think it's a perfect movie. I think these were some young filmmakers who set out to make a film, and they did it. They did it, and they did it to the best of their ability, and now all of these people have gone on to do some great things. James Wan has directed some of the biggest horror movies in the last decade. He's even directed some Fast and the Furious movies. Leigh Whannell is also becoming such a very good director, also being responsible for a lot of the Insidious movies and the new Invisible Man and Upgrade, and he's got some new things coming out as well, and I'm really excited for those because I really like how he's developed into a really good horror director. But this film right here that actually started as a short film, this started their careers. This is what launched them into stardom, and these guys have done so much, and it all traces back to this one little independent horror movie. It's such a intense movie. That's the best word I can think of to describe it right now. It's so intense. It is wonderful, and it is again, I'm somebody who likes gore and blood a lot, so I appreciate that in this movie. The effects in it were really good. I didn't think that they had anything that looked ridiculously fake. I mean, all the traps were just barbaric and brutal, and it obviously it became something so different than what this movie set out to be in the beginning, but that's okay. That's a different story for a different day. But this one film, based on its merit, is something that I love, and I can still rewatch time and time again and get that same feeling that I watched it the first time. So those were my thoughts on Saw. What are your thoughts on this movie? Let me know down below in the comment section. Go ahead and hit subscribe if you haven't done that. Turn your notifications on so you never miss a video. Hit that thumbs up button. It means a lot to me, and it helps out the channel a bunch too. My name is Andrew Dreamer, and I will see you next time on Wrestling with Horror.